Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gibbo the Shaman, and welcome back to my channel, Gibbo the Shaman. So today we are talking about the difference between, how should I put this, Western New Age religion and Western spirituality versus Eastern spirituality, or I should say shamanic, shamanic spirituality. So, and also Western magic versus shamanic magic, which is another thing to get into. So, before we start, I'm just going to let you guys know that I have a bunch of really great sales going on here. You can go to gumroad.com and get 60% off of all energy work courses by using the code HOLIDAY. And once again, my Vedic astrology services are available for 30% off. I'm a certified Vedic astrologer, and so my readings are designed to give you the most helpful information within your chart. The most helpful and practical and easy to use and apply information within your chart. And I have, so if you want an astrology reading, go to vincent.thunderwizard.com. And if you want, I also offer life coaching, mentoring, self-transformation course, my cosmic qigong course. All of that is also available at patreon.com/Gebo the Shaman. Okay, so I've made those prices as extremely affordable as I possibly can, so you can get your hands on them. If this stuff is valuable to you, then you will have no problem spending your money on it, right? Because we all, buy the things that we need in life. We all buy the things that we want in life. The new iPhone, the tablet, the TV, the this and that. So why not take a minute and, invest in yourself. Invest in something that can really help you in the long term. So, yeah. I strongly believe in those courses, and they will help you. So, today we're talking about the difference between Western spirituality and Eastern spirituality. So, what do I mean by Western versus Eastern? Let's just start off with that. So, Western would be American or European, modern European. So, because before, when the European people, when the Norse and the Celtic and all those people were living in their, in their shamanic roots, before civilization started, before anything like that, when people were just being people living in nature, they had these shamanic systems in place, because that's that's how they interacted with their environment. So we're talking about modern. I guess another way to phrase this would be modern spirituality and modern magic versus shamanic primordial spirituality, shamanic or primordial magic. Because there's a thing that happened, but right after civilization started, we were no longer in tune with our our connection to Mother Earth. Everything started getting systematized. Instead of having tribes where we would go out in large groups and hunt animals together, we would now in bigger societies, we have the farmers, we have the hunters who go get the meat, we have the hunters, we have the farmers, we have the bakers, everybody has their own little job, but in in shamanic times, it was just you helped out where you could and you did what you could. It was everybody was, working together collectively to accomplish things. So, and was more it was more about the needs of the tribe. It was more about the community, more about, things like that, rather than this big, system, this like dehumanizing system, basically. So, so how does that correlate with what I'm talking about? Well, I'll get to that. So, I guess so. The thing to understand is there's modern spirituality. We have all these words, these fancy words that nobody can really understand. Ascension. Ascension, awakening, blah blah blah. What does all that mean? Well, okay, so those are ambiguous terms. If you were going to some random person on the street and say, "Hey, have you achieved ascension? Have you achieved awakening?" They wouldn't tell you. They wouldn't be able to tell you what that means. They wouldn't be able to understand what that means. So it's we have these pet terminologies that really they're so impractical. So yeah. So, or even enlightenment is like an ambiguous term. It could mean different things to different people. So I should say Western or modern spirituality and Western magic versus the more shamanic version of spirituality and magic. So one of the differences between these two is the fundamental assumption. Like, there's a fundamental assumption that like the two assumptions are different. So in Western magic, or I should say just Western spirituality. So in modern Western spirituality, we are trying to leave the earth. We're trying to ascend. We're trying to, get out of our bodies. We're trying to go out, go, live in the spiritual realm, right? We're trying to do that. And I mean, if you have, if you have listened to spiritual teachers, they talk about these aliens and these foreign beings that are, the Pleiadians, the Lemurians, the blah, 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 blah. What the hell does that all mean? What practical effect does that have? Okay, so in Western spirituality, we're trying to get out of our body. We're trying to go, be spiritual somewhere else, kind of thing. Trying to avoid our problems, trying to, get out of our misery as humans, And so it's kind of a different take, almost. It's like a different spin-off of Christianity. Because, what does Christianity say? Being a human is bad. It's sinful, right? You were, quote unquote, born into sin. That just, it triggers me. So yeah, it's like, so a key difference there is that in Western spirituality, and in Western magic, we are trying to, even in Western magic, they have this term called the Holy Guardian Angel, the HGA. And we have angels and we have spirits and whatever. And so, the focus is on, not being here in this earth, so key difference there is Western spirituality, modern Western spirituality is trying to get out of the body, get out of existence, ascend, evolve, whatever you want to call it, right? Be enlightened. So in shamanic spirituality, in Eastern spirituality, in prehistoric spirituality, that's another term I'll call it. In prehistoric spirituality, they were trying to align with the physical energies of the universe. They were trying to become more effective at being humans. They were trying to become better humans, more, they were trying to do, like, for example, like in the Norse are great examples of using their spirituality to help them become better humans. They used the runes. They use, the runes are basically creative energies of the universe. They are sound vibrations that resonate with a certain aspect of the universe. So, for example, the rune Fehu. Why would they chant the rune Fehu? The rune Fehu means resources, physical resources, money. In their day, they didn't have money, so they used cows or fit. So, anytime you hear the word fee, that's from Fehu. So the Norse would chant Fehu to get resources, to align with the energy that would bring them resources. And so, because, they, in shamanic times, you needed to do things like that would allow you to survive. It was all about being practical. It was all about what can help me here and now. They didn't care about getting out of the body, ascending, going to the Pleiades and whatever. They cared about, how can I make this life the best life that I can be. They were like, and so the richest people, the wealthiest people in the Norse times, in the Norse societies and whatever, the wealthiest tribes had, a lot of cattle. They had, a bunch of children. They had, all these resources, like cattle. They had the furs. They had the, everything. They had a ton of resources because in those days you would use cattle as resources. You could do anything. You could make tools with cattle, not only just using them for their meat, but you could make, you could make tools, you could make different things. And so that's why that's the generalized word for resources is a fee or a fehu. So the wealthiest people in the Norse times were looked on as being, admired. They were admired, and people who were, just coming up in the world, would ask them, turn to them for help and stuff, to see what they were doing to have all these resources. What were the actions that they took to have all these resources? Well, they were, doing, their Feihu chants and whatever. They would do a bunch of stuff, and that was admired. But nowadays we look at rich people with hate and hatred and disgust kind of thing. A lot of people have a lot of poor people have a lot of hate and animosity and judgment on rich people just because they have a lot of money. Well, sorry to tell you, wouldn't you want to have a lot of money? It's just because you have a lot of money or you have a lot of resources doesn't make you any more or less spiritual than the next person. It just doesn't. In the shamanic times, the people with the most resources were often the most spiritual and the most giving and the most compassionate and all that. So you really got to change your mindset on wealth and money. So anyway, what was I going to say? So main difference between Western modern spirituality and shamanic spirituality is one is trying to get out of the body, the other is trying to make this the best existence that they can, to manifest their true potential, manifest the things that they want to accomplish. And so so they would go after that ferociously, fearlessly. And a big part of what I teach in my life coaching and mentoring is going after the things that you want and taking fearless action. And it takes a lot to do that, but it's worth it. So another thing between modern spirituality and shamanic spirituality is that we see so they operate more in tune with the earth, whereas we have to call in Western or modern spirituality, we want to be more aligned with the heavens or the celestial beings or the universe, so being aligned with earth actually helps you, to manifest things on the earth. So, yeah. So another thing is that, they kind of, so there's this difference in being, in the assumption that they have. So, in Western astrology, in Western Western spirituality, we often think of deities as outside of ourselves, right? We have God, we have Jesus, we have, I don't know, we have, just the Western, we have like angels and demons and whatever. And so in shamanic spirituality, what they would do is they would believed that everything was within us. So they had this kind of holographic sense of the universe. So, for example, if you would go and ask, if you would go to India and ask a random Indian on the street, did Shiva really exist on this physical earth? And they would say, oh yes, Shiva, he existed, he still exists on this physical earth, and he's been around for thousands or millions of years or whatever. And so they would say, yeah, he exists in physical form. Okay, he exists as a separate entity outside of ourselves. But then in the same breath, if you would ask that same person, but isn't it true that Shiva is just an aspect of ourselves, of our consciousness, of our higher awareness? Oh yes, Shiva is just a mere aspect of our higher consciousness. So they have this dualistic, or not this dualistic, but this multidimensional sense of the universe, of everything around us. So something can be outside of us yet simultaneously within us. And this is the true nature of how everything works, because everything is inside of us. So when we do our mantra to Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya, we are not only stimulating an aspect outside of us that we could think of as this deity, this his own persona, his own being, his own individual identity, but then at the same time, simultaneously, we're worshiping that aspect within us, that higher awareness, that higher consciousness. So so that's a key difference, and I mean, there's, in the Vedic system, they have deities like Bhaga, or I think his name is called Bhaga, who is the sun deity for wealth. And so, doing mantra to Bhaga will help you attain wealth. And you'd have to look at more aspects within your Vedic chart, which I can help you with, but to see the specific ritual you should be doing for material wealth. But people would do rituals to Bhaga, and that was not seen as bad. That was not seen as unspiritual, because the whole Vedic system is all about being practical, about getting your needs met, and living the life that you want to live on this earth. That's why you existed. That's why you're here, guys, is to make this life the best life that you can. And to be doing things like following your joy, following your passions, following the things that make you happy. And if that means turning your back on everyone and everything else, then so be it. You gotta take fearless action. You got to do the things that you need to do for yourself. We're often too codependent in Western society, hoping and wishing that people would like us and love us and show us how special we are, when we don't see that in ourselves. But the thing is, it all starts from here. It all starts with you. So, you can start by loving yourself and caring for yourself, talking to yourself nicely and things like that. So, I don't know how I got off on that, but anyway, that's, sage advice there. So, let me see how much how I am on time. Yep, I think it's time to wrap it up. So, guys, if you would like to make your life as practical and as awesome as you possibly can, then I would encourage you to pick up my courses. They will help you. They turned my life around. These are the things that really changed my life. And so it was by adopting this shamanic perspective about life, making it the best that it can be, that, got me from going from like severe depression and all that to being someone that I'm proud of, and someone that I'm happy to be, and living my life as I want it to be and not dictated by other people. So guys, with that being said, I will talk to you next time. I hope you really took this to heart and really understood the concepts that I'm trying to teach here. So, peace.